Good morning, everyone. I'm Deborah Hoffmann, Director of Economic Development for Passaic County, New Jersey. Welcome to our webinar, Energy Incentives for the Business Community. I'd like to thank our co-sponsors for this wonderful event, Bergen County Economic Development, Hudson County Economic Development. In fact, Michelle Richardson, the Executive Director, is here with us today, and William Patterson University Small Business Development Center. We'll be taking all questions through the chat, so please add your questions in the chat room. And at the end of the session of all the presentations, we'll pull them out of there and try to answer all your questions. In addition, everyone who registered today will receive a copy of the slide decks, as well as a link to the entire recording for the event if you'd like to share it or replay it for yourself in case you missed something. We have a very dynamic team here today. Very, very thrilled to be here and to welcome them. So our first speakers, Michelle and David, will address energy savings for every business, helping you leverage available PSE&G programs. And please take it away, Michelle, and introduce your whole company and Dave's company. Thank you.
Sure. Hi.
Oh, I apologize. I'm supposed to introduce the commissioner.
Commissioner Bartlett.
I apologize, Commissioner. I'm so anxious to get going. Our first speaker, frankly, is to provide a welcome is Commissioner John Bartlett from Passaic County. I apologize.
Not at all, Deb. Thank you very much. This is an important webinar, and I understand why you wanted to dive right in. So good morning, and everyone who has joined us for this morning. This morning's program is part of a continuing series of free webinars and other programs that our Division of Economic Development offers to businesses in Passaic County. From Clifton to West Milford and everywhere in between, we're committed to helping the county's businesses grow and thrive. These past few years, I don't have to tell anyone on this webinar, have been especially challenging for a lot of businesses. And I want to thank Deborah Hoffmann and her team, along with our partners in Hudson and Bergen County and our partners at the state and federal level, for everything that they were able to do to help businesses access the relief funding and other support that they needed to get through the pandemic. I'm too superstitious to use the phrase back to normal, but I will say that today's program and the other services our Economic Development Unit offers represent our commitment to help all of you come out on the other side of the pandemic with every opportunity to succeed. This morning, you're going to learn about the New Jersey Direct Install Program, how you can secure energy assessments and rebates, and our experts will be available to answer your questions on reducing your energy consumption. One great example of a company securing financial incentives from the Large Energy Users Program and the Smart Start Buildings Program was the Stop and Shop Supermarket Company, a grocery store chain with 61 New Jersey locations. They received total grants of approximately $1 million to install thousands of new LED fixtures, saving more than 63 million kilowatt hours of electricity annually company-wide. The energy grants also encourage them to install variable speed drives and fan motor controls, refrigeration control, and HVAC controls. These energy saving measures are saving the company more than 63 million kilowatt hours of electricity every year, and they also reduced by 20.2 million pounds Stop and Shop's CO2 emissions each year. Not every company is as large as Stop and Shop, but every company can utilize these important programs to reduce energy costs and harmful emissions. So I want to thank our panel of experts and thank again everyone who joined us here today. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. Thank you for helping to save these businesses money and benefit the environment. And Deborah, to you and your team and everyone who's joined us this morning, thank you very much for everything you're doing.
Thank you, Commissioner. I appreciate that very much. Thank you very much for the great welcome. I appreciate it. All right, now we are going to get going with Diana from DNV Energy Systems, Michelle, and David Kirsch from Program Support Manager for PSE&G. And Michelle, it's all yours.
Thanks, Deborah. My name is Michelle Spargifiore. I work directly for the PSE&G Commercial and Industrial Incentive Program. I work for DNV specifically. We help run the program. And I specifically work with the Small Business Direct Install Program. So any questions directed at that, I can be your guide. I know the ins and outs of that very well. But I can go over the whole program because there are several that will fit different businesses of different sizes and types. And so it's important that we go over all of the programs that PSE&G can offer. So I will be going over some of that today along with David Kirsch, and we will get you in touch with the right people for the right program that fits your business needs, whatever that may be, big or small. There are several different types of programs that we offer. So I will kick off with our slides and walk you through some of what we have here today. Sorry, let me share my screen. Okay. Oh, whoops. So our agenda for today will be, as I mentioned, identifying the right energy saving program for your business, because we offer the big and small, and some are custom, some are prescriptive, which I'll get into what that means in a little bit. So just basically going over what are the criteria for either of those programs and how they would fit your business type. And learning how we can access those financial incentives, the best way to maximize the incentive that your business can receive, how to best structure it for the upgrades and the energy measures that your business may need or could benefit from. And if we have some time at the end, we will pull up our website. We can navigate you a little bit through finding a trade ally, which is a contractor that has been certified through our program. We vet them, we look at their references, their licensing and insurance, make sure that they're in good standing. So we can navigate the website a little bit and show you how to find a trade ally in your area for the type of project you're looking for, and just navigating the website in general to show you where our list of incentives are and how you can access the application and everything like that. So we can get into that at the end if anyone has time for questions and answers. So I'm going to briefly pass it over to David Kirsch, and he will give you a little bit of information on the program as a whole.
Thanks, Michelle. I appreciate it. Good morning, everybody. And first, we want to just thank this whole this opportunity for PSE&G to be part of it. So on behalf of PSE&G, we're thrilled to be here. We love doing this kind of stuff. We love passing the word or preaching. I'll call it preaching the gospel here for our programs. And it works out to be a win-win for everybody involved. So I just wanted to go over, if you see this slide here, it says PSE&G is ushering in a clean energy future in which our customers use less energy and the energy used is cleaner and delivered more reliably than ever. One of the biggest questions that we have as a utility is, well, why would PSE&G want to push programs that would have people use less energy? Isn't that how you make your money? And that's a constant question that people give us all the time. And the truth of it all is that we not only make our money from the utility, from the actual commodity itself of gas or electricity, but that's just a small part of where we make our money. Our money is made through our infrastructure, and if you use less energy, it puts less of a strain on those 95-degree days in the summertime on our grid and our system, and also in the peak of the winter when it's 10 degrees out there and we're all using as much heat as possible. It just puts much less of a strain, since you're using less energy, on our system. That way we can deliver your energy more reliably and cleaner. So that's one of, it's kind of a misconception that people have that, well, why would PSE&G want to do this? That's where they make their money, but it's not true. It's not true. We have a ton of other investments that we make our money on, and this is something that's a win-win for everybody. And the biggest thing is our infrastructure, with less of a strain of our infrastructure on those high user days. So I wanted to make that clear. I also wanted to let you know that our programs here, PSE&G as a utility, has been turned over programs by the Board of Public Utilities. Programs that used to be run by the state are now being run by the various utilities throughout the state of New Jersey. So what PSE&G does with our programs that we have, our energy efficiency programs, we have a few programs that we run internally. We run our own direct install program, which I believe Diana is going to talk about. Our own PSE&G runs our own direct install program, which is for businesses in urban enterprise zones, nonprofits, and government. That's where our programs come into effect. Anything else that's not run, that's not fall into that category, is a DNV small business direct install program. Now, who is DNV? DNV is our implementation contractor. They were awarded the bid by PSE&G that was put out to a number of contractors. It was awarded to DNV. DNV implements our programs, and they are managed by PSE&G. So DNV will help you work through the process, which Michelle's going to go over those programs. I just wanted to go over, touch briefly as to what our programs are, and then I'll let Michelle get into it, and I'll be here for any questions afterwards. Our programs, again, we run what we call a energy engineered solutions, which is huge customers and huge projects, 2 million plus, 1 million plus type of projects where we have incentive laden program to help people get through these large projects. And again, as I said, we run our own direct install program. Now, the Clean Energy Future programs, which is we know is CEF, it's a business of acronyms, so I apologize for that. But Clean Energy Futures or CEF programs were approved by the Board of Public Utility into the, it's 1 billion, and that's with a B, $1 billion worth of programs. So we have a ton of money. We want to be like Santa Claus. We want to help you folks with your business. We want to be able to give you as much incentive money for becoming clean and becoming energy efficient at all of your businesses. So we want to help you because that affects your bottom line. Utility costs are typically, I know electric is 85% of most people's utility bill throughout the course of a month. I've been involved in these programs for some 30 years, so I've been around the block a couple times. What I'd like to also tell you is that the programs that we have are prescriptive programs, custom programs, and again, Michelle will go into all of this. We have a strategic energy management and our retro commissioning programs, and we have a few other programs that are pertinent to you folks out in our audience today. There's one thing that, and Michelle will get into both of these items, but very important is what we call our OBR, which is on-bill repayment, another acronym. On-bill repayment allows you folks to be able to take care of the cost of your project minus incentives over a 5-year period at 0% interest on your bill. So that's a tremendous item, no out-of-pocket expense. It really helps you get involved in these projects that everybody's struggling with the dollar. We all realize that coming out of COVID, business isn't what it was, and we're trying to get our feet back on the ground. So the OBR is a huge advantage. And again, Michelle will touch on that as well. And on top of that, we have something that we think is we call opportunities, energy efficiency opportunities. We call that the low-hanging fruit is your LED lighting. So that's low-hanging fruit where you can get lots of dollars for that if you want to replace it to go to LED lamps. But one of the things that I call fruit on the ground is what we call our 180-day look back. We give you the ability to go to a project that was done 180 days within the past 6 months that has been completed, where you've put in energy efficient lighting or any energy efficient equipment in the past 180 days, and it's approved equipment. Well, if you have the spec sheets of what you've taken out and what you've put in, we could send it over to DNV, and DNV will look at it and we'll be able to send you a check if it qualifies. And that qualifying is basically if it falls into certain certifications that we have that are required, that are common certifications. We call it design, DLC approved, Design Light Consortium. And Design Light Consortium is just an approval on these particular lamps. And if they're part of that DLC approval, then we'll be able to get you some money back if that project has not received previous incentives. I know a lot of folks may have taken advantage of a direct install program in the past or Smart Start in the past. If you've received rebates on that, we can't give you a 6-month look back. But if you have not, and you've done a project because maybe a whole bank of lights failed, we'll be able to give you some money back on that as incentives. So with all that being said, I know it's a lot of information being thrown at you. I apologize for that, but we have a limited amount of time, and I'm sure now it's clear as mud. But again, we want to thank everybody for being here, and we are truly honored to be part of this whole presentation, and PSE&G is thankful for that. So thank you, and I'm going to pass it back to Michelle.
Thanks, Dave. Okay, so most of my presentation that you'll see is going to touch on what Dave talked about. It'll be in a little bit more detail, but so you'll hear a lot of the same acronyms. I'll try to, always give you the full explanation before, but forgive us. It's like Dave said, a world of acronyms, and we're just used to talking about them in shorthand. But so we're going to talk about how we can tap into these energy and cost savings. And so like I mentioned before, there's a wide array of, let me just move my screen. There's a wide array of incentives for customers who upgrade different energy efficiency equipment. So lighting, as Dave mentioned, but there's HVAC equipment, rooftop units, there's controls for lighting, there's occupancy sensors to make the lighting more efficient. There's different programmable smart thermostats that can be used on existing systems if they are already efficient, or upgraded ones. Different refrigeration, commercial kitchen type upgrades. We've had kitchen hoods, and we've had different freezer controls put in for refrigerators in large grocery stores. We've had things like Wendy's come through, and McDonald's. And so you have restaurants that have different equipment than the normal lighting and HVAC that a lot of other businesses have. So there's a wide array of pre-approved measures, and we'll get into, we also offer custom. So anything that doesn't fit sort of in the box can go and apply through our custom program. And so I'll get into that a little bit more. The no money down and 0% interest on the project cost, that was the on-bill repayment that Dave mentioned, the OBR. It is a fantastic project. A lot of small or large businesses don't have the capital upfront to make these. They know they need the investment to be made on a new unit. And if we can help offset that cost by doing a more efficient unit, they then can qualify for an incentive. And then the on-bill repayment, which no money out of pocket over 5 years, it's felt very little, and it can really help to get you to a more efficient unit, which will also save on your energy costs. So the payback will even be shorter by using these more efficient equipment over maybe a different model that's less efficient. And so we have, I mentioned Trade Allies before. That's our pre-qualified contractors that have come through our program. They've gone through some training that we've put out there. They know the online application process very well. They know our timelines, what to expect. They can help you navigate putting in an application. And they've been, like I said, vetted through us. We've checked references and previous work, and they're a great place to start. And so that's something on our website that we have a Find a Trade Ally link where you can find a contractor in your area. And then our customer support representatives, we have an email and a general phone number that you can call or send anything to with questions about what might qualify, how to get started, links to anything. And so I will share that later in the slide, but we have all that available to help you guys get started. And so now we'll talk a little bit about incentive eligibility. So how and when to use incentives. So they're designed to cover the costs of upgrading the standard or older models. A lot of times it's older models of lighting or HVAC or what have you that need to be replaced, but sometimes it's just a less efficient model, and the need is there to go to a more high efficient model for energy savings and overall production. So it's the best way to proactively plan for these upgrades when you can understand the need that's there. You can schedule it ahead of time instead of waiting for a need. It's best to be proactive and maybe start the process with a trade ally. Have them do an energy assessment of the facility to see what is in the near future. So that way you won't need an emergency repair where you're stuck. And now we all know the supply chain issues is a huge factor. And then it may come to a circumstance where you have an emergency replacement that can't be met because of these supply chain issues. So we always asked, to try and proactively think ahead and plan for any of these potential upgrades that, may be in the future. And so now we're going to talk about the different, how they can meet for the incentives. So the equipment must meet the program efficiency requirements. We do have in our prescriptive program, which is basically our most popular, it's our run-of-the-mill, there's pre-approved measures that have an incentive already associated with them. I think we have it's about 8 pages worth of measures that qualify, from the lighting to HVAC to the refrigeration. And each one of those, depending on size and efficiency, have a incentive associated with them. So it must meet one of those requirements. Usually it's DLC or Energy Star listing for lighting. You obviously must be, to participate in this program, a PSE&G electric or gas customer. It can be either, and we can work, you can be just PSE&G electric or gas, and we can work with your other utility to work on the incentives, but you can still participate in the program if you're not fully PSE&G. It must result in a permanent reduction of your PSE&G energy use. So we don't want this to be something that's a short-term reduction that doesn't have the long-term goal, and the equipment must remain in place for 5 years or the life of the products. And that's just a little bit of, general housekeeping rules. So this is just a brief example of the on-bill repayment and incentive, just easy numbers to put it in front of you. So if you have a project that is about $10,000 in cost, and we would offer $2,000 incentive, the balance, that $8,000, would be able to be repaid on your electric bill directly on there over 60 months at 0% interest. So for example, the $8,000 over 5 years would be $133 a month. So that's a lot more attainable for most people than, having an $8,000 upfront out-of-pocket cost. And so that's the on-bill repayment, why, we always sing its praises, because it's a fantastic program. And so the OBR eligibility, the on-bill repayment, they must qualify and apply for program incentives for OBR. So you can't just get OBR without already applying for the incentive and having that eligible product. So it's anything after the incentive. All project costs are eligible for OBR, so that includes equipment and labor. So it's the total project cost. It's not just for one or the other. The whole thing can be bundled into the on-bill repayment. There's no maximum limit for on-bill repayment. Anything over 1 million will have to be. There's a few additional requirements that PSE&G will evaluate, but no project, big or small, is precluded from on-bill repayment. The term is 5 years, 60 months. And it uses the Experian Financial Stability Score to pre-approve and check these customers. So it's not a hard credit check, as they say, when they're looking for the pre-approval. So now these are some of the business energy saver programs that I've been mentioning. So prescriptive and custom, engineered solutions, strategic energy management and retro commissioning, and our small business direct install program. I'll go over prescriptive and custom in our small business direct install, and then I'll be passing it to Dave for the other two. So the pre-qualified energy efficiency equipment, this would fall under our prescriptive program, as I mentioned. So that's the pre-approved. We have the list of about 8 pages of measures that were previously established as qualified and can have the associated incentive with each of those. Common prescriptive measures are LED fixtures. Like we said, that's probably the heaviest hitter is lighting. It's always an easy fix and a quick swap out. HVAC systems, water heating equipment, food service equipment for those type of facilities, appliances, commercial grade, and more. 8 pages worth. And how to participate is we have an online application process, which is very easy. We also offer a PDF version that can be emailed into us. We also have our midstream program that you see here. It says receive instant rebates. That's our midstream program. We have a number of authorized distributors that give an instant point of sale incentive on these products like lighting. There are several lighting, and I think we're expanding into the HVAC market as well, where a customer or contractor can go and purchase the equipment and receive the incentive right off the bill. And then the distributor files on the back end, they'll utilize the customer's PSE&G account, and they'll get reimbursed from us on the back end, but the customer or the contractor would get it at point of sale. It should be mentioned that you can't double dip. So if you get an incentive through midstream, it cannot be put through again through another program. But we can get into that because there are other ways that you can still put in for the project with already receiving that incentive, and that way the customer can still take advantage of the on-bill repayment with maybe the project installation if they just got the product with the incentive, and then they might put it in through our program and have the contractor bundle the on-bill repayment for them. And so if you have your project completed by one of our pre-qualified trade allies, they can apply on your behalf, which makes it easier. For our prescriptive program, it's not required to do the work with a trade ally, but we always recommend it's the easiest place to start. And they, again, know the process very well, so it makes it easy for everyone to navigate. And so this slide's about our 180-day look back program that Dave mentioned. So a quick example is if a project was submitted today on April 29th, it would be eligible if the completion date was after October 29th. So it is 180 days to the day. So every day that goes on, obviously it's one more day backwards that you have to go forward. And so it can be previously installed, but if it's on our prescriptive list and it was previously did not receive an incentive previously and it's on that prescriptive list, you can still apply for an incentive. We have seen a few come through for HVAC lighting, and it's if you've already done the work and you're still in that 6-month time period, it's a great program to take advantage of as well. And this is our custom program. So as I mentioned, the prescriptive program has these pre-established incentives, but if there's something that's sort of outside of the box that doesn't fit on that sheet that we already have, we can have our engineers take a look at it and evaluate the cost savings. So the incentive for that would be 16 cents per kilowatt hour saved and $3.50 per therm saved. It is capped at 50% of the project cost. And we would need some technical information. Like I said, the engineers would evaluate the energy savings. So we will need equipment and performance data and some more, some code. We have to establish the code and savings based on, certain standards. So it's possible to put in for something and it can always be evaluated. We would need some supporting document from you guys, but it doesn't preclude that, at least if there's something that's not on our pre-established list. And our small business direct install program, as Dave mentioned, there are two. DNV runs the one for small businesses that are not non-profits. They cannot be in an urban enterprise zone, like a Camden, Trenton, Newark, Bayonne. Those are the cities that have urban enterprise zones. So anything in those areas, or that is a nonprofit or municipality, that would go to the PSE&G program that Diana from Donnelly will discuss in more detail. But the direct install program is for small businesses with us that use less than 200 kW annual average peak demand. And it's, I always get the question on what size business. And so the square footage is hard to, it's based on the energy usage. So you might have a large facility that doesn't have a lot of energy usage that still would qualify. So we have an easy lookup tool on our website that we can look up the customer's account either by number, address, name, and see if they qualify right off the bat. So if that's something that you're not sure, their customer's electric bill will show their annual average peak demand. But if you're not sure where to find it, or you'd like to double check with us, it's an easy, quick lookup. And so the direct install program is offered for these small business because it also offers enhanced incentives. We can cut energy costs by as much as 30%. The incentives are paid directly to a small business direct install trade ally, and the customers can repay as little as 20% of the total project cost. So we can cover up to 80% of the project cost. I would always like to say up to 80%, because of course we have to look at the whole project as a whole and energy savings and project cost. But it's great for the smaller businesses that, again, it has that enhanced incentive. For that reason, for the smaller guys that don't always have the capital to do these projects. And we prepare a quote based on all the factors, all the measures that you input, and we work directly with the contractors to get a proposal over to a customer so they know what the incentive is they can expect before they decide to move forward with the project. And so this is regarding the urban enterprise zone and not-for-profit, the small business program run with PSE&G, and that Diana will discuss more. But it's similar to our direct install program. It's just for the other subset of customers that I mentioned. So the same preclusion on 200 kW annual average peak demand. Again, the 100% of the upfront cost, that's by combining the on-bill repayment with the incentive together, and the customer can repay as little as 20% also, and Diana will go into a little more of the details on that program. And then energy management, I'm going to pass this one over to Dave so he can go over these in a little more depth with you.
Okay, thank you again, Michelle. I also wanted to just let you folks know that the difference There is another difference between our direct install program and the DNV run direct install program. Our program run by PSE&G is a closed contractor network. The contractors that we have in there have been assigned geographic territories within our service territory to do work in that territory. And Donnelly would be the one that would be applicable to your territories. So I just wanted to make that the DNV is an open trade ally network. You can go to anybody to do their direct install program. But if you're using the PSE&G program, you need to go to the assigned contractors for that particular geographic territory. So going over energy management, there's an energy management, we call it strategic energy management, and it's kind of coupled with what we call our retro commissioning. They're basically one and the same. Our strategic energy management and retro commissioning, I liken it to, it's really applicable to manufacturing facilities or those type of facilities, because what we do is it's like taking your car in for a tune-up. We hook it up to computers, we get baselines, and we see where maybe you're taking for, like, if your car needs an oil change, or if your car has a hose leak, or maybe it needs you need to change your spark plugs. That's what it's like for energy management and retro commissioning. We go in there, we get a baseline, we send the engineers in, and that would be the DNV folks would be in there, and they take a light engineering approach to it, where they form a baseline as to how you use your energy at what hours of the day, how much you use, and they look at those areas that you may need some help in. And that would be, maybe you have, again, like I said, maybe you have one of your motors is grinding. It's not a VFD. It's not a variable frequency drive. Or maybe one of your process equipment is not operating at its maximum, or you have a steam loop where there's a leak and you're losing energy. We all determine that. And once we determine that, we take measures to fix that. But that's not by replacing. That's just by maybe doing some upkeep, some maintenance on it. Maybe an oil change here, or maybe redoing the hoses, that type of thing. So it's not a full out replacement. We have money for all that. And those two programs kind of run hand in hand. And sometimes it's not for, your business owners who are on Main Street in Patterson or somewhere in Passaic County where you have a small business. It's usually more apt to be able to be fit towards, like I said, either manufacturing or process type of facilities. So those are those two programs. And as we started with this program, I'd be very hard pressed to find anybody who would have a business or an opportunity that we won't have a program of incentives for. So that's really the ins and outs of the energy management and strategic energy and the retro commissioning.
Thanks, Dave. Okay, so we touched on both of those slides. So next steps after this. So here is our website, bizsave.pseng.com. When you go there, you can access the online application, as I mentioned. You can access the PDF application. You can find a trade ally, small business, regular. You can find a distributor for the midstream program, as I mentioned. You can find the list of incentives for the prescriptive measures, and a whole lot of other things. So it's a great place to find all our information. And that's our general phone number and email for our call center, that any questions can be directed there and then forwarded to the appropriate party. And I will now pass it over to Diana from Donnelly to take it away on her slide.
Before you do, Michelle, and I'm sorry to steal some thunder on this, Diana, I just wanted to make it clear that if we are partnered with DNV, DNV is one of our approved partners. And Donnelly is one of our contractors, as they're going to go over shortly. But I want everybody to know, I know you folks probably receive phone calls 10 times a day that says, we can save you money at no cost, and we can do this, and we work with PSE&G. If that name doesn't say DNV or PSE&G, probably best to hang up your phone, because it's either someone trying to scam you out of money and get in the door, and nothing's really free. So I just wanted to make that clear, and just to make sure that you know that DNV has been approved by PSE&G via the contract. So I'm sorry to steal the thunder, Diana, but I wanted to make that clear before we move on.
Thank you, Dave. Appreciate it. I'm going to just quickly share my screen. Give me 1 second to get this sort of settled and on the way. But yeah, thank you again for attending, everyone. My name is Diana Meneses. I'm the marketing director for Donnelly Energy, and my portion of this webinar is really to kind of walk you through what an energy assessment looks like for the direct install program, as well as the overall process. And this could translate for both the DNV Small Business Direct Install Program, as well as PSE&G's, what we call the UEZ program for the category that they handle. A little bit about Donnelly Energy. We are a local energy efficiency firm. We're based out of Wayne, New Jersey, so we're Passaic County business. And we've been helping New Jersey small businesses and local government entities essentially go green and save green since 2008. We have been in the direct install space for over 12 years now, originally as a contractor with the direct install program when it was run by the Office of Clean Energy. But now, since that has been shifted to the utilities, we now work with utilities like PSE&G to help implement their direct install programs on a contractor basis. Our overall goal is essentially just to help, small businesses throughout New Jersey lower their carbon footprint and their overall energy costs, and make it as easy and affordable to do so as possible. I know Michelle and Dave have really, they really hit the points on what the direct install program is. This is basically the same slide that Michelle had, so I'm going to breeze through this again. This program is a comprehensive energy efficiency program where it could cut a business's energy usage by as much as 30%. And the equipment included in this program tends to be lighting retrofits, HVAC systems, commercial refrigeration, and so on. And one of the big caveats for this program is that you would need to be in your facility for the past 12 months and have an average peak demand usage of less than 200 kilowatts. And like Michelle had mentioned, it could be anything from a small mom and pop shop to mid-level size commercial facility or manufacturing facility. It's all based off the energy usage and not so much the square footage. And the big point to really hone in on is that this is an out-of-pocket program where customers that would repay as little as 20% of that total cost over 5 years at 0% interest, ABR, through the on-bill refinancing program that PSE&G offers. Like Michelle and David mentioned, this program is essentially split into two categories. The first being the Small Business Direct Install Program, which is, again, run by DNV. And I'll kind of go more in depth. David touched upon it previously about the open contractor versus the closed. So I'll go a little bit more in depth on that. But there is, again, the two categories where DNV runs the Small Business Direct Install Program for open network. And then PSE&G runs their own category of direct install, which is for nonprofit, local government entities, K-12 public school districts, and businesses within an urban enterprise zone. And then Donnelly Energy ourselves, we're actually an approved contractor for both of these categories. So we're a trade ally with the Small Business Direct Install Program, and then we are a participating contractor with the PSE&G Urban Enterprise Zone program. I'm going to kind of go into a little bit more in depth again, kind of the nuances and what that means. So again, like, what's the difference? The big difference, we'll kind of touch on the Small Business Direct Install again really quick. This program is for businesses that are not located in an urban enterprise zone. So say in the case of Passaic County, where we have Patterson as an urban enterprise zone and Passaic as an urban enterprise zone. So if you're in any other city or town within Passaic that's not located on it, you would fall under the Small Business Direct Install Program that's run by DNV. Again, this program is business can essentially work with a pre-approved trade ally. There's not a set contractor for this program. So if you happen to know a contractor that has been pre-approved by PSE&G, you can work directly with them. If you do not know who to work with, you could find a trade ally, like Michelle said, at bizsave.pseng.com. And I'll reiterate that Donnelly Energy is a trade ally for this program. And then we go into the direct install program that is run by PSE&G, that is the closed network, like Dave had mentioned. Again, this is for 4 categories. It's for nonprofit businesses in urban enterprise zones, local government entities, as well as K-12 public school districts. And it has the same, it's run almost exactly like the Small Business Direct Install Program. It has the same eligible equipment as the direct install program. These categories tend to have a higher incentive compared to the Small Business Direct Install Program. And the intent of that is that because these 4 categories, the nonprofits, the local governments, and even in urban enterprise zones, it's helping to serve the public and helping to bolster up more underserved communities like urban enterprise zones. So they tend to have a little bit more of a higher incentive point than the regular small business direct install program. But again, it is to, the intent is that we're helping to, help the public in regards to that program. The way that it is a closed network is, like David mentioned, each county has been assigned a PSE&G authorized contractor. In the case of Donnelly Energy, we are assigned to Passaic County, Morris, Hunterdon, and Middlesex, and we are going to be getting a few more, new territory too as well. So we're very excited. With that said, in the end, to learn more about all these different programs, it all starts with a free, an energy assessment. And in the case of direct install, we're kind of going to go through a little energy assessment one-on-one. The first thing is to just sign up. You can sign up to make it, your life a lot easier. You can sign up online through BizSave. It's at psig.com or calling their 1-800 number, or you can again sign if you know who your authorized contractor is for the UEZ program. You would reach out to them directly, or you could sign up directly with a trade ally that you happen to know that may be working within the Small Business Open Direct Network program. Your contractor or trade ally will ask if you could have your most recent bill ready on hand. It just helps us to pre-qualify your business for the right program based off of your energy usage. And like Michelle has mentioned too, if you're not really sure about where you lie in regards to the programs, I started skipping a little bit here. There is that neat tool on the website to kind of check and navigate you. And then your contractor may ask you to sign what we call a AAA form. It's from PSE&G. It's basically giving consent that we're allowed to walk through your building and that you're okay with us doing an energy assessment. And then from there, you could actually physically put your assessment on our calendar. Direct install assessments are free and non-committal. If anyone tells you otherwise, don't work with them. But they tend to be, if you ever had a sort of a home energy audit, that's a little bit more comprehensive. Not in the case of on the commercial side. So it should be free. It's not committal. What you do with that information is up to you. It is usually quiet and very non-invasive. It's essentially just a walkthrough of your business or your facility, where it's all a visual check. Maybe every once in a while, your energy assessor may have to pull a panel off a little bit just to double check on the light bulbs, but it is a visual assessment and it won't disturb your regular work hours, and a reputable energy assessor will work around your calendar should you need it. Like in the case of school districts, we always tend to work when class is out of session, to comply with some rules and mandates. Once you are completed, or once the energy assessment is completed, then you will receive a PSE&G produced proposal within the next a few days afterwards. This kind of then goes into what does the direct install process look like. We kind of already touched upon the pre-eligibility and the assessment itself and the proposal side of it. So usually a trade ally should sit down with you and kind of walk you through what that proposal looks like. And it tends to be just a breakdown of your current electric equipment, what the energy efficient alternative is, the incentives that PSE&G would provide, how much energy usage would be lowered should you make that switch, and then more details about the on-bill refinancing and things like that, and also your return on investment. And should you say, yeah, I want to go through with it, fantastic. You would sign the dotted line and your trade ally will handle the rest for you. They'll submit all that paperwork to PSE&G for their review. If they approve it, then they execute the contract. And then again, the trade ally handles everything else in a full turnkey fashion. So we handle everything from opening construction permits with your local township if they're needed, to ordering the materials, to the installation itself. All you have to do essentially is sign the dotted line at the beginning, and then work with your contractor to schedule the actual installation. And from there, once the installation is, I keep skipping on here, I apologize. Once the installation is completed, we also close out all of permits and all of the project, closeouts with PSE&G themselves. And then from there, you'll start receiving your energy savings. Again, I want to try to keep this very brief and quick. Some of the main takeaways that, we at Donnelly want you to remember is that, again, energy assessments for direct install are always free and non-committal. This program is turnkey, meaning that your trade ally or contractor should basically handle everything for you. Direct install customers, again, repay as little as 20% of the total project cost, interest-free over 5 years with the PSE&G on-bill refinancing program. And if you are a business that is not in an urban enterprise zone, then you fall under the Small Business Direct Install Program from DNV. And then if you are one of these 4 categories of nonprofits, public government entities, K through 12 public school districts, and businesses within an urban enterprise zone, you would fall under the PSE&G Direct Install Program that they manage. But other than that, we're gonna, I think, open the floor for some questions and answers. My colleague Pat Fullerton handles business development for me at Donnelly Energy. He's sort of been monitoring the chat and the Q&A section, so he'll field some questions now for our panelists. Pat, do we have anything in the Q&A here?
No, I'm not seeing anything. I'm not sure.
Oh,
If, again, if
It looks
Oh.
like someone raised their hand. I'm gonna just stop sharing my screen here. Looks like someone had raised their hand. So give me 1 second here. Let me take a look.
yeah, I have Victor.
Victor? Yep. We could allow him to
if you
talk.
wanna-
Hold on. Yeah, hold on. Victor, go ahead.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for the presentation. I have a quick question. My wife and I, we own a commercial rental property in Teaneck, and we're trying to apply for a grant to upgrade the building. Is about 100 years old already. So we tried to apply for 2 programs. One was the Small Business Improvement Grant application, but that doesn't, it's not allowed for landlords. They're not eligible. I tried to apply for School Small Business Energy Efficiency Stimulus Program. I represent minority, my wife is a woman, but because we're 50-50 in the business, we weren't able to get the required certification by the state of WBE or MBE, because it needs to be 51% of each. Long story short, I'm trying to upgrade the building because it has single pane windows. We would like to install HVAC, change the toilet fixtures, make it more energy efficient. The electric bill, the gas bill really goes up during winter because of all the leaks in the building. So I'd like to know, in our case, which is basically a commercial rental property, if there's any program that would apply to our case to upgrade the house, the building.
So I'll chime in. Just a quick question, Victor. So the tenants are commercial or are they residential?
It's commercial. So it's a house that has about 7 offices, and they're all, most psychologists, psychotherapists, psychiatrists.
Okay. And are all they? Is anything master metered that you handle, or are they all individual accounts that they have?
Oh, it's one. We pay for all the utilities. It's just one.
Okay, that makes it easy, actually. Okay, so anything as far as in our prescriptive program that I mentioned, anything like that. I know you mentioned some HVAC, things like that, lighting, that it would all come through our program, and you can submit an application for. Windows are not something that are under our normal prescriptive program. I have seen them come through custom. Again, that's something with it has to be evaluated for the energy savings, but I have seen, some incentives for that. So we could potentially put something like that through the custom program and have our engineers evaluate. And so I think you said toilets. I don't know. We don't, as far as I know, we don't have anything like that on our prescriptive lists. But we can, I can send you after this, if you'd like to drop your information, we can send you our list of pre-approved measures that you could take a look at, and you might find some things on there that might be worth replacing that maybe weren't on your mind, but it would definitely fall within our program, being that it's a commercial property.
Okay, so what's the name of the program again? I heard the custom for the windows and
the custom and prescriptive program, the one that DNV manages for PSE&G.
Okay, all right, I appreciate it. I just sent on the Q&A chat window, I sent my email. I don't know if you guys need anything.
Okay,
more.
great. I know
Okay.
after this, we're gonna gather everything. We'll send
Mhm.
out materials, and that can include links to the website, and I have my contact information there, but I can definitely send you a message directly after this.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I actually saw a question pop up on the chat where from Nicholas. It says, will you be dealing with cannabis entities in the future, or will there be some federal regulations preventing you from dealing with them? To my knowledge, there shouldn't be any issue now that it's legalized in New Jersey, but I can't attest to that.
We haven't, I could speak from PSE&G's viewpoint. To the best of my knowledge, there's no discrimination against that type of business. We will go ahead and do whatever it takes to help that person or people manage that and manage their, energy efficiency programs, number one. Number two, there's a significant amount of savings when it comes to, actual cannabis growing centers, because there's lighting that are extremely efficient if they want to use it. So no, there's going to be no restrictions from our standpoint in terms of our programs.
Yeah, and I actually was, instructed to do some consulting on some of the warehouses that were, this was a few months ago, that we're going to be planning to possibly be growing. I know there's a few aeroponic and hydroponic farms, and whether it's cannabis related or not, we did have the go ahead to go and look into some lighting opportunities for them. So I don't think we will be discriminating on any type of business as long as it's a legal operating entity in New Jersey.
So I'm checking to see if there's any other hands raised here. Does anyone have any other questions if you like that? Let me double check if there's anything in the chat. We are almost, pretty much out of time. We're about to hit 11 o'clock. If anyone has any other additional questions, please, feel free to raise your hand. But if not, I think we could, give it another minute or two. But if there's no other questions, I think we're pretty much, done with our hour. So thank you, on behalf of Donnelly Energy, thank you for everyone attending, and thank you, Deborah, for all your hard work and setting this together. We really appreciate it.
Thank
And
you,
thank you,
Diana.
DNV, for joining us too.
Yes, thank Michelle and
Thank you.
David, Pat for coming in. And I thank our co-sponsors, Bergen County Economic Development, Hudson County Economic Development, and William Pass University Small Business Development Center. This is a very, very important program, and I just urge everyone participating today to take advantage. We had over 70 people registered, so everyone will receive a copy of the link to the recording and the slide deck, so that way, if you couldn't come at the last minute and you couldn't participate, you'll get the information. So,
Correct.
okay.
Great.
All
Great.
right. Thank
Thank
you
you so
all
much,
very
everyone.
much. Have a great weekend. Take
Have a
care.
great
Thanks,
weekend.
everyone.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.